Finance.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Financial Independence Podcast, the podcast that usually gets inside the brains of some of the best and brightest in personal finance to find out how they achieved financial independence. Today's show is just going to be a quick life update because things have drastically changed since the last time I talked to you, and those life changes have actually given me a completely new appreciation for the benefits of FI, and I don't think I've ever been as grateful as I am now for, having achieved financial independence. So I figured it'd be worth just chatting briefly about that with you and giving you an update on what's been going on lately. So I'm extremely happy to say that my wife Jill and I have had our first child, and I'm pretty confident when I say he is absolutely the coolest little kid that's ever been born. So we're over the moon and our lives are completely different, but in the best possible way. So it's been just over a month since he was born, and we're still figuring out parenting, but we're getting into a better routine, and at least I have enough bandwidth to record this short episode, so hopefully you get something out of it. But before we dive in, I guess a little background is necessary because I didn't think I ever actually wanted to have kids. There was so much that I wanted to see and do with my life that I felt like having kids would maybe get in the way of that. And, early 30s, I would say I was pretty selfish in that regard. Like, I wasn't a jerk to friends and family and things, but I did protect my time as much as possible because there was so many things that I wanted to do. But two things changed when I got to my late 30s, and the first was my wife's sisters started having kids, and I got to see how fun and crazy they are. And second, I started actually accomplishing a lot of the things that I had wanted to do. So I went back to school and got a graduate degree, and I ended up accidentally starting a successful business with the credit card search tool that I built. And Jill and I visited 50 plus countries, and we lived on 3 continents, and I achieved financial independence, which was my biggest financial goal. And then, as you know, in 2020, I finally achieved my childhood goal of writing and releasing an album. So I started ticking a lot of these things off in my 30s, and I have to say that FI obviously helped a ton in that because I wouldn't have been in a position to finish that album, I don't think. And I wouldn't have been in a position to work on, the credit card search tool as much as I did. And, having that financial stability was very key in getting me to a position where having kids was actually something that I could even be able to consider as a possibility. And financial independence actually made the prospect of becoming a parent a lot less scary because as it was getting closer to his birth, I was already starting to think wow, my life is going to drastically change, like sleep deprivation. How am I going to handle that? How are we going to, work around his schedule more? And the thought of trying to do that with a 40-hour work week for both of us or one of us was just overwhelming to think about. And I have a newfound respect for what my parents did and raising us, my brother and I, because it's just so much. And when you're trying to have a full-time job at the same time, I just can't even imagine. So the prospect of becoming a parent was a lot more manageable. And as it started getting closer to his birth, I would start freaking out about things. And then I'd think, well, you know what? Yeah, we could be up all night, and we could be up all night for multiple days in a row, but we could sleep all day if we need to, or we can take naps in between whenever he's feeding, and we can be completely flexible. And that really calmed me down as fatherhood approached. So a big reason I wanted to do this episode is because I feel like I've been focusing a lot on the downsides of FI. And downsides of FI is actually probably not the right way to say it because that's not the case. But in 2018, I would say the FI world got huge. FIRE took off, mainstream media exposure and everything. And there was an explosion of podcasts and blogs that came out after that. And it just seemed like there was just so many people saying, and not these words exactly, but saying all right, FI is the number one goal you should have, and it's going to solve all your problems, and you're going to be instantly happy and healthy and on top of the world as soon as you reach this goal. And that's not really surprising because what would you click on? A headline that says top 10 ways FI is going to change your life for the better, or another article that says, yeah, FI is great and all, but it's not going to solve all your problems. So it's easy to see why it sort of got overhyped as more and more new people were coming into the scene. And since I'm an old guy who's been doing this for over 10 years and I don't really care about getting more clicks or more readers because the site has already grown bigger than I ever expected, I felt it was my duty to sort of tell the whole story. And since the plus sides were being told so well by so many other people, I tended to focus on the downsides and, talking about how, I blamed having a job for the reason I didn't complete my album, only to then find that it was a lot of psychological hangups I had about, maybe failing and just not willing to try because I was too scared and things like that, that I only realized post-FI that were holding me back, and it wasn't my job at all. And so anytime I got interviewed, I would always focus really hard on those things just because I wanted people to have the full picture. But I also get lots of emails saying like, oh, are you miserable in FI? Or, there's comments on some other podcasts that are like, this guy sounds like absolutely miserable. Why would anyone pursue this goal? And that's definitely not the case. So this episode is going to really focus on the positive side because I feel like I haven't really experienced this level of gratitude towards my past self as I do now. Because since our son arrived, every day I wake up and just think how lucky we are to be able to just spend all this time with him. And my mom and stepdad came over for 18 days to visit, and I got to just watch them enjoy their first grandson and just spend time with everyone and not have to worry about getting pulled away for anything. And friends and other family have been stopping by pretty much every other day, and we've just been enjoying time together and a surprisingly nice, sunny Scottish summer, which was a huge treat. I got my dad and my stepmom coming in October, and my brother and his girlfriend in November, and just knowing that we can dedicate as much time to all those people we love, but also our new son is just the biggest gift. And I honestly haven't felt this level of gratitude and happiness and contentment in the entire 6+ years since I left my job as I do now. And this idea of reaping the benefits of past decisions is really in the forefront of my mind lately. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my age or the fact that I'm sort of really settling into the post-FI lifestyle. But over the last couple of years, I've gotten much better at really utilizing the benefits of those past decisions. So I'm actually like learning how to spend money and enjoy spending money, which as a naturally frugal person, I never expected. I was always just accumulating savings and saving as much as I could and not really thinking about the time to actually spend it. And that's really changed. And there's going to be a lot more on this soon because I feel like I've learned a lot of things about myself over the last couple of years that could help a lot of you, because just like me, I'm sure a lot of you are naturally frugal, and a lot of my listeners and readers that I talk to in real life, I know that they're really similar to me in the sense that saving comes easy, but I think the spending's a bit more difficult. So over the last couple of years, I've pushed myself to spend a little bit more, and it's been a lot of fun. I have to say, my wife, we were in the kitchen. We just moved into a new house a few months ago, and I've been coming up with this big list of stuff that I wanted to buy once we settled down somewhere, because we've been just like really all over the place over the last couple of years. And so all these things that I really wanted to have, but didn't want to buy them when we were sort of nomadic. So as soon as we settled down, I started getting them all. And my wife was like, what is going on? There's a new delivery every single day. And I was like, yeah, this spending thing is amazing. Like, I don't know what I've been missing for all these years. So, and I totally honestly too. So that's a definite, a big change. And no, I'm not going to be keeping up with the Joneses and going crazy and then having to go back to work or anything. But my mindset has shifted, and I'm starting to really enjoy spending money, which is a huge change for me. And some of my other decisions in the past, like that, that my relationship with Jill, like our investment in that together is, that's 20 years ago in December that we've been together. And I honestly feel, more connected to her than I ever have. And we've had this beautiful son together, and we're so close, even more than we were over the past 20 years, which is amazing. So that investment's really paying off. And some of my investments in health and nutrition that I've been trying to implement over the last 10 years, like I feel great. And hopefully, even though I'm an older dad and I'll be hanging out with no doubt much younger dads, hopefully I won't feel too awkward or out of place if I keep those habits up, and I'm grateful that I started them when I did, because early 30s, like I was starting to get a dad bod and I wasn't even a dad, and I was like, well, I guess that's it. That's just the state of things now in my 30s, but that thankfully wasn't the case. So I'm not sure if this episode's going to give you any actionable things that you can implement in your life to improve it, but it is just me wanting to say, like, your hard work and sacrifices to achieve some of these goals is definitely worth it, as long as you don't overdo it, because I'm experiencing benefits that I wouldn't have even anticipated. And like I mentioned earlier, FI helped me achieve those goals to get me into a state to have a kid. And then it made the thought of having a kid a lot less scary. And now I get to just fully enjoy time with my wife and son. And I just feel so happy and thankful that I made the decisions that I did 5, 10, 15 years ago. And I hope that you do as well. So thank you guys for listening. And if you're interested in learning more about how I've evolved into actually reaping the benefits of my investments and not just continuing to invest, then you can sign up to the email list at madfientist.com/advice, and you can enter your email address there. And when you do, you'll join over 100,000 other people on the email list, and you'll get a PDF containing all of the answers to my one question: what's one piece of advice you'd give to somebody on the path to financial independence? And I've been asking all of my guests that for the last 10 plus years. So you can get a PDF containing all of that great advice, but you also get new posts as they come out. And since I have no idea how sporadic I'm going to be in the future now that I have a little kid, that's definitely the best way to stay up to date with Mad Fientist stuff as it comes out. So anyway, thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Finance.